Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a great big howdy to everybody. I'm Parker Phillips, and I'm chairman of the Nash County Extension Advisory Committee, and it's my honor to welcome you to this year's annual Farm City Week. For years upon years, we have had the custom of meeting at the farmers market and having a wonderful breakfast, farm people, city people, urban and rural together. And we take great pride in this county and community in the coexistence that we have. This fall has been very wonderful weather-wise. The harvest has been good. The farmers have been busy getting the crops out of the field, and the yield and the bounty has been just wonderful. We take this opportunity every year to remind our city neighbors of the hard work and diligence of our farmers, and then likewise our rural people are reminded of the agribusinesses and the companies and the businesses and entities in the city that make our lives better. So that's what Farm City is all about. We regret, due to the prevailing COVID issues, that we cannot meet in person, so this is a virtual meeting, but we are glad to be here just the same. And needless to say, we're drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. Safe in the palm of the good Lord's hand, we've been blessed once more with the fruit of the land. A good harvest was reaped from the seeds the farmer sowed. Now we're drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. The farmers and the land and the seasons work together. The seeds were planted and cared for and complemented by the weather. Then the good Lord smiled on the farmer's sweat and toil, and good crops grew from the fertile soil. Now as the seasons come and go, we're drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. The crops this year were ever so good, and the farmers hustled night and day to harvest them as they should. Corn for the livestock and hay sweet as honey, golden leaves of tobacco that brought a lot of money, bales of cotton for our shirts and socks coming out of the gins around the clock, peanuts in abundance, load after load. We're drinking from a saucer because our cup is overflowed. In summary, there's only one thing left to say, and that is, dear God, thank you day after day. For here in America, we simply can't lose. We can worship as we please and vote as we choose. For granted we take the good life that's ours, like the times with our loved ones as we smell the flowers, food on our tables in our warm abodes. Thank you, Lord, thank you. We're drinking from a saucer because our cup has overflowed. God bless you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we look forward to Christmas around the corner. And God bless you, and thank you.
Hello, I'm Rich Bonanno, Director of NC State Extension, and I'm here with you today to celebrate Farm City Week. It's no coincidence that Farm City Week takes place in November. This is typically a time when we pause to give thanks for that which is most important in our lives. And perhaps now more than ever, the importance of agriculture and the farmers who enrich our everyday lives should be recognized, celebrated, and supported. The past 18 months have seen significant challenges and changes. But while much has changed, some things remain the same. Like the need to feed our families, fuel our vehicles, and clothe our loved ones. By and large, these are basic human needs that apply to each and every one of us. Rural and urban, small and large, agriculture crosses borders and unites us all. Yet somehow, these farmers and agricultural operations that serve as a lifeline for every society are often taken for granted. But not today. Today we recognize and give thanks to our farmers for their contributions to every community across North Carolina. At NC State Extension, much of our programming revolves around agriculture and supporting farmers. And like the farmers who live and serve every North Carolina community, Extension staffs local centers in all 100 counties that serve as resources for every farmer in the state. We help keep North Carolina's $96 billion agriculture industry growing, connecting farmers with the research-based information and technology they need to be successful. I'm immensely proud to report that in the last year, Extension delivered over 10,000 educational programs related to agriculture. Our extension experts have transitioned numerous programs to virtual platforms, keeping farmers connected to tools and expertise they depend on, while opening doors for new audiences. Extension has also played a vital role in helping agribusinesses keep their farm workers safe. By leveraging our vast network of partnerships, we assisted in providing personal protective equipment, including nearly 1 million masks, along with vital COVID education and tools to farm worker communities. And while agriculture is a core focus area for Extension, we work to improve the lives of all families and citizens across North Carolina. I'd be remiss not to briefly mention some of the other phenomenal work that's taken place during the pandemic. In 2020, NC State Extension's 4-H Youth Development Program strove to return a sense of normalcy to young lives. Within 1 week of the initial school shutdowns, for example, the team launched a daily virtual program to support teachers and parents with online STEM curriculum. 4-H agents, program staff, and volunteers statewide supported that outreach with online programs and club meetings that generated nearly 4 million digital contacts via our websites, social media, and Zoom. Likewise, Extension food safety experts became the drivers behind a statewide science-based initiative to help restaurants, hotels, and other food businesses reopen and operate safely amid the pandemic. By serving local businesses across the state in partnership with multiple state agencies, the launch of Count on Me NC helped revive the state's $21 billion restaurant industry. Extension transforms science into solutions that improve lives and grow North Carolina. That's our mission. For more than 100 years, we've supported North Carolinians in the ways they need us most. We grow and adapt alongside the communities we serve, rural and urban, by meeting people where they are. And with that, I thank you for your time. And this year, remember to thank a farmer. Thank you.
Our guest speaker for 2021 Farm City Week is Dr. Gary Moore. Gary Moore is a retired professor at NC State University in the Agriculture and Extension Education Department. Farmers in 2021 are facing a whole host of issues that make farming difficult, ranging from the pandemic that we're all experiencing to fluctuating commodity prices, strange weather occurrences, and a whole host of other stresses that make farming very difficult. Gary's going to talk to us about some historical connections to what farmers are going through now and offer some glimpses and hopefully hope into how farmers have overcome periods of adversity in the past.
Hi, my name is Gary Moore. I'm a retired professor at North Carolina State University, and I would like to share my screen with you. So hang on for a moment while we get everything set up. Today, I'm going to talk with you about resilience, the lessons that we have learned from the Dust Bowl and COVID-19 eras. My email is gmore@ncsu.edu if you ever need to get in touch with me. Now, the last couple of years have been very hard and challenging for us. The COVID has sort of thrown many of us for a loop, and some people are at the end of their ropes. So it's sort of bad. However, if we look back, we will learn that during the 1930s, we had the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, and those times were also challenging. So by looking at the times in the past and the most recent times, we might learn a few things. So resilience is defined as the ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. And that's what we need to practice. We must be resilient. Our story starts with World War I. Americans were urged to grow more food for the war effort. We had allies in Europe that needed to be supported and fed. And we responded. Every year during World War I, we increased the acres and crop production, and our extension agents played a major role in this effort. The prices received for the agricultural commodities were outstanding. Commodities such as wool were at 250% of their normal price. Other commodities were high valued also. And since this event is being sponsored by the Extension Service, let me give you a quote from the Secretary of Agriculture, David Houston, at the end of World War I. He said, "The emergency through which the nation has passed only served to emphasize the supreme importance of the Cooperative Agricultural Extension Service." So that's the commercial for them. Now we go into the roaring 20s after World War I, and ag prices dropped. They went from 33% in 1 year, from 1919 to 1920. The next year they dropped 54%. And this led us up to the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, the farm income in 32 was half of that of 29. And it was estimated that the income per farm in this era was $230. Most of us are familiar that the stock market crashed on October the 29th, 1929. Wall Street was hit hard. 16 million shares of stock changed hands and billions of dollars were lost. And this was the start of the Great Depression. 15,000 banks suspended operation during this era. 4,000 banks alone closed in 1933. And the image we have on the screen here is of a run on the Raleigh Bank and Trust in downtown Raleigh. And unemployment was high. 25% was what we achieved. And we had soup kitchens that served food to the needy. Nearly every big town had soup kitchens in operation. And people lived in tents or cardboard shacks. These were known as Hoovervilles because people blamed the Depression on President Hoover. Now, if the Depression and the financial blowback from it was bad, now it really starts to get bad. And let me give you an example of what sort of started a lot of this. In 1910, wheat prices were 91 cents. And by 1920, they'd gone up to $1.83 a bushel. But after World War II was over, they dropped to 67 cents. So what do you think the farmers did about that? Well, what they did is they planted more wheat. So the farmers in the Midwest went out and plowed up every acre they could plow up. And at that time, we had what was called deep plowing, where you'd plow 20 inches into the ground. And they thought that was more desirable. But it was a recipe for disaster. During the 1930s, we had a prolonged drought. And all the native grasses had been plowed under so farmers could plant more wheat. And the crops were not growing because of lack of rain. And the topsoil blew away the winds. In 1932, we had 14 dust storms. In 1933, there were 38. In 1937, there were 70. And we called these dust storms black blizzards or black rollers. And here is an image in Texas, 1935. And here's one in Rolla, Kansas, in 1935. And here's another scene from Kansas. But the dust came rolling in huge clouds, and you could tell where it was coming from by the color of the cloud. Red clouds were coming out of Oklahoma. Gray clouds were coming out of Texas. So what did we do about these big dust storms? Well, there wasn't a whole lot we could do. We had huge drifts of dirt that buried pastures and barnyards. They piled up in front of homesteaders' doors. I have seen pictures of people with shovels, like snow shovels, out shoveling the dirt away from their front door so they could get in or out of their house. The dirt came through the window cracks, sifted down from the ceilings. You were just immersed in dust. When you ate food, you could taste the grit in the food. Now, here are some children going to school in Lake, Kansas, 1935. You can see their lunch pails, but you also notice they have masks on and goggles. Goggles protect your eyes, and the mask was to protect them getting the dirt in their lungs. Here's a picture of Red Cross volunteers in Liberal, Kansas during the era, and they were all wearing masks to protect themselves. And during the Dust Bowl era, 7,000 people lost their lives to what was known as dust pneumonia. And there were thousands of heads of livestock that also died. When you did a post-mortem on the livestock and cut them open, their lungs were full of dirt from the Dust Bowl. And whenever you run out of things to do, you might get on YouTube, look up Dust Bowl ballads. There was a guy named Woody Guthrie who sang a whole bunch of ballads about the Dust Bowl. They're very interesting to listen to. If we didn't have enough problems already, we had problems with grasshoppers, jackrabbits, centipedes, and spiders. They multiplied and grew like crazy. They ate every blade of grass they could get a hold of, including crops. And they were a major, major problem. And the centipedes and spiders would make their way into houses. Grasshoppers would cover everything. And to control the jackrabbits, they actually had jackrabbit drives where people would get in huge circles and then go to the middle, and they have pins in the middle where they would run the jackrabbits into these pins, and then they would club them. And we also had to deal with static electricity. When these dust storms rolled across the prairies, they would build up a lot of static electricity, and you could see blue flames that leaped from barbed wire fences, and well-wishers shaking hands could generate a spark so powerful it would knock them to the ground. And mothers and children refrained from hugging because it could knock you unconscious. And the static electricity could short out car engines and car radios. So if you were driving in an area where you thought there was a dust storm coming, you would drag a chain from the back of your automobile to ground the cars. So it was bad. We had the depression with no money, crops were failing, we had dust storms, we had pests. So the 1930s were indeed a time of hardship. So what did Uncle Sam and Congress do? Well, by executive order, the Works Progress Administration was started in 1933. And these people went around working on infrastructure. They would build roads, airports, airport hangars, and they actually built over 2 million outhouses for rural areas. Because the banks were going under, Congress passed the Agricultural Adjustment Act in 1933. And then in 1933, they also created the Farm Credit Administration. So farmers were paid not to grow crops under the Agricultural Adjustment Act, and they could borrow money from the Federal Credit Administration. So this addressed the money issues we had. We also created the Soil Conservation Service to figure out how to conserve our soil. And also we passed the Rural Electrification Act, which brought electricity to rural America. And that was a real infrastructure type of deal. So what are some of the lessons that we learned from the Great Depression, Dust Bowl era, and the recent COVID-19 era. And since that's fresh in your minds, I don't have a whole bunch of slides about COVID-19, but in the next few slides, we'll see a comparison. The first lesson we might learn is that adaptability and common sense is very important. In the Dust Bowl era, people wore masks to prevent dust pneumonia. Well, in the COVID-19 era, we wear masks to lessen the spread of COVID-19. We would not hug or touch others during a dust storm to prevent strong static electricity shocks. And we've been practicing social distancing in COVID-19 era to cut down on the spread of the virus. And the people worked together to reduce the jackrabbit population in the Dust Bowl era. And today we have a lot of Zoom meetings to address problems that we're facing. And farmers used a lot of cloth to seal up cracks in their houses to stop dust from entering. And we've had to use cloth lately instead of paper towels and toilet paper because of the shortage of paper. So we both found ways to use cloth. There have been steps taken to restore the economy. In the Dust Bowl era, we had the Works Progress Administration. We also created the Civilian Conservation Corps, and they did a lot of infrastructure projects. Most of the Blue Ridge Parkway was built with the Civilian Conservation Corps. We also had the Rural Electrification Act, and these acts all put people back to work. And we just recently passed the infrastructure bill in Congress, which might accomplish some of the same things. And we've also had loans to small businesses. In our financial health, during the Dust Bowl era, unemployment reached 25%. Well, in COVID-19, it reached 15%. 22 million jobs were lost. In the Dust Bowl area, mortgages were foreclosed. Farmers walked off the land, abandoned their homes. In the COVID-19 era, we had a record number of evictions until a federal order temporarily stopped them. In the Dust Bowl area, the Farm Credit Administration loaned money to farmers, and farmers received payments for not growing crops and reducing livestock numbers. COVID-19, the PPP loans kept businesses afloat, and families received checks from the CARES Act. A lot of similarities. And we learned we should trust science, not pseudoscience or superstition or politicians. In the Dust Bowl era, farmers were told to kill snakes, drape their bodies belly up over fences, and that would attract rain. Well, in the COVID-19 era, we were told to use untested drugs, ultraviolet light, and inject disinfectants. In the Dust Bowl era, experts would use balloons to lift dynamite into the sky. They claimed that explosions agitated the atmosphere and caused rain to fall. And we were told that COVID-19 will go away with warmer weather. We're also told that people were told that COVID vaccines altered your DNA, caused infertility, and contained microchips. None of that is true. And we did research and experimentation to find ways to save the soil. And we developed vaccines in COVID-19, and they work. We also need to look at sustainability. In the Dust Bowl era, we had food insecurity. Soup kitchens fed the hungry. In COVID-19, we've had food chain disruptions. Often we will see vacant shelves in our grocery stores. In the Dust Bowl era, when we killed all those jackrabbits, they were skinned, cut up, and the meat was saved. And it was canned, and that's how people survived. In the COVID-19 era, food insecurity increased for many people. And the agricultural practices back in the 30s were not sustainable. So we must, both agricultural and city people, promote and practice sustainability today and in the future. So 75% of the people in the Dust Bowl era stuck it out. They persevered. They were resistant. Some folks headed to California. Extension played a major role in helping people survive then, and they are now. But now more than ever, In the age of COVID-19, we must be resilient. The Center for Creative Leadership in Greensboro has studied resilience, and they've come up with 8 practices that we need to use in order to be resilient. Number 1 is we need to develop and nurture a broad network of personal and professional relationships. We can't live in isolation, and we need to use social media, the phone, any mechanism we can to have a network of people that are both personal and professional. And by helping out each other and having each other's back, we will become more resilient. Socialization is important and should be a part of our daily routines, even if it's brief. We don't want to become hermits, but then we don't want to go out and run around the world. But we need to be in contact with people. Number 3 is we need to regularly exercise. Not only does that lower our blood pressure and cholesterol, it improves our ability to process stress and increase our resilience. The Center for Creative Leadership says we need to take time to sleep. So detaching from work, getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night has been proven to strengthen your resilience. Number 5, we need to take time for mindfulness. And mindfulness is basically a type of meditation in which you focus on being intensely aware of what you're sensing and feeling at the moment. So in other words, it's sort of like meditation. We just need to stop and think and clear our minds. We need to embrace new perspectives, gain new understandings, and apply them during times of change. Don't hold on to old behaviors and skills just because they're familiar, especially when it's obvious that they don't work anymore. So we must be willing to try new things. And COVID has required us to rethink a lot of things and try new, different approaches. Number 7 is we need to savor the good moments in our life, deliberately enhancing and prolong your positive moods, experiences, and emotions by savoring them intentionally. I was in the dental chair on Monday of this week, but I was looking out the window and there was a maple tree that was changing colors. And even though I was in the dental chair, I was savoring that maple tree. So we need to look for opportunities to savor small things around us and enjoy them. And the 8th step to enhance resilient leadership is to practice gratitude. We need to take time to acknowledge and appreciate small things throughout the day. Now, while there's a lot of problems and obstacles we have, there are some things that we should be thankful for. And I was in Nigeria 2 years ago at this time, and it made me so thankful for what we have here in America that we do really need to practice gratitude. Karen Sullivan says, in the face of adversity, we have a choice. We can be bitter or we can be better. So by being resilient, we can be better. Well, I've appreciated the opportunity to share this information with you, and have a great Thanksgiving.
We have 3 agriculture awards that we will be giving out this year to 3 deserving individuals and businesses in the agriculture community here in Nash County. The first award is the Next Generation in Agriculture Award. This is open to anyone under 30 years of age who is demonstrating a commitment to a career in agriculture. Our winner this year is Sam Moore of Nashville, who's nominated by Linda Fisher. Sam is making strides in building a solid foundation for his farming career. under tutelage of his grandfather, Colby Moore. He has seeded new acreage of coastal Bermuda and has purchased a new inline square baler. He aids his grandfather in round baling and delivering round bales. He's taken over the record keeping and synchronization of his family's beef cattle. Sam is willing and eager to help neighbor farmers with an intention to learn lessons that will mold his own farm business. So congratulations to Sam Moore for winning our Next Generation in Agriculture Award. Our next award is in the Business and Industry category. This is for any citizen or business who has promoted agriculture, business, and industry and supported the growth of the local agriculture economy. Our winner this year in this category is Quality Equipment of Rocky Mount. Quality Equipment is the area's source for any and all things John Deere. Farmers, landscapers, and homeowners come to Quality Equipment when they need parts, service, or new and used equipment for tractors, lawnmowers, and a variety of agriculture equipments, parts, and even construction equipment. Here at Nash County Cooperative Extension, we especially appreciate Tracy Bailey and Bill McKeel for voluntarily assisting with our giant pumpkin project. They brought a tractor over to the Ag Center to lift and load our 910-pound pumpkin onto a trailer so that we could take it to the Spring Hope Pumpkin Festival and the NC State Fair. So we very much appreciate their assistance with that project. You can find Quality Equipment on Eastern Avenue in Rocky Mount, just outside of Nashville. So congratulations to Quality Equipment. And our third award is the Farmer Award. So this is for a farmer who has worked to satisfy the agriculture needs of the people of the county and to improve agricultural standards in our area. Nash County is known for having some of the best farmers around, and the winner in this category this year is no exception to that. He raises soybeans, cotton, tobacco, sweet potatoes, corn, and cucumbers. In 2017, he won second place at the regional level in the NC State Soybean Yield Competition, which is no small feat. And he has hosted variety trials, cotton variety trials locally for 4 years in a row. He's also one of the few people that we know who voluntarily went through the process of getting both a commercial applicator pesticide license and a commercial soil fumigation license, just in case any of his neighbors needed any help. For all these reasons and more, it is an honor to introduce our Farmer of the Year, Mr. Charles Rose Jr. Congratulations, Charles, and thank you for all you do. Congratulations to all of our award winners for 2021.
I'm Brandon Moore with Nash County Farm Bureau. We're here today to recognize that farms and cities are very connected. And with Nash County's growth in previous years, we're getting closer to one another than ever before. Farmers are increasingly having to compete with land development as land prices soar. Though as population increases, demand for food and fiber increases as well. There are also more opportunities for small farming operations to benefit from the local and pick-your-own produce markets, as well as agritourism opportunities. Nash County was able to produce a strong tobacco crop, as our county missed much of the devastating effects of excessive rain and flooding that our neighboring counties suffered. Planting was dry enough to timely get the crops in the ground, and the rains came when needed. This and a dry harvest season allowed for a welcome change from past years. Cotton and sweet potato production was very strong this year, though some sweet potato producers suffered from nematode issues. Shortages of imports and a strain on domestic transportation pushed crop values higher, but these same shortages increased input prices as well. Livestock prices fared well compared to last year, but input prices offset the gains. Now, with a dry fall, livestock may be lacking in winter forage as the rains have not replenished the soil. Livestock and crop farming both suffered from supply chain issues as there were products to sell, but there were difficulties with transportation and processing of those products. This resulted in shortages in the store, but not on the farm. COVID-related issues were not as problematic this year as last, mainly because of vaccine availability, prevention education, supplies, and implemented protocols for farm labor employees. Nash County is in the beginning stages of creating a new land use plan. We all need to work together to make sure agriculture, industry, and urban development can work together. We need to help provide a better understanding of agriculture's importance to our county's future. Crop acreages for Nash County in 2021, as reported to FSA, are as follows. Corn with over 6,000 acres compared to last year's 3,800 acres. Cotton with almost 7,000 acres was down 1,000 acres from last year. Peanuts with 3,400 acres was up 1,000 acres from 2020. Soybeans with 26,300 acres was down 3,000 acres. Tobacco with 6,700 acres was up 1,200 acres. Wheat with 4,600 acres was about the same as last year. Sweet potatoes with 9,400 acres was down 2,000 acres. Strawberries had 19.8 acres, and this almost doubled in acreage from last year. And hemp was reported on 1.7 acres. Livestock numbers in Nash County, as reported by the National Ag Statistics Service, are as follows. 7 million broilers, 6,500 total cows, 59,000 hogs and pigs, and 1.4 million layers. I would like to remind everyone that it is still harvest time and there will be farm equipment on the roads. So see a tractor, slow down. We all want to make it home safely. I'd like to thank the Nash County Farm Bureau Women's Committee for today's decorations behind me. And I would also like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, a safe and healthy holiday season, and God bless America.
Hello, I'm Sandy Hall, County Extension Director with the Nash County Cooperative Extension. I want to thank each of you for joining us virtually for our Farm City celebration. Although we are not gathered here together enjoying a meal, Nash Extension wanted to take a moment to reflect and spotlight some of our local farmers. Nash Cooperative Extension is honored to work with our farmers in providing research-based information. As we have seen over the past year, our farmers have become very important to our food supply chain. Our farmers are extraordinary people who never stop, day after day, night after night, working to meet the demands that come with farming. As I have shared before, farm life is very special to me. My grandfather was a farmer from Whitaker's, in which I spent many of the summers growing up on the farm. Those experiences helped shape and mold me to be the person I am today. This Farm City program reminds us how important agriculture continues to be in our daily lives. As we approach Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and you gather around your tables with the delicious food, I hope that you remember your local farmer. As we conclude our Farm City celebration, have a wonderful Thanksgiving season.